13 times, you say, each one. Well, I must say, these didn't come loose or rattly too bad, but when they corroded, they were almost impossible to get out without breaking off these little brass rods here. Fortunately, these are really nice condition, and look at these dampers here. That's those are nice condition too. Might be able to save those. Meanwhile, continue with this. That was an expensive adventure in the home when you had to go and repair these dampers. Oh, there's why it was split. They put a sleeve in there. You probably didn't observe that the thing had tapered tuning pins when they put this in there. It's the original tuning pin, but this is probably why the block split right here. Stupid copper sleeves. This thing. Oh my. You know, if they drove the pin in there, it cracked the block. And it looks like it did. Oh, there's one. There's one here too. One here too. Yeah, see, somebody put these copper things in here, and that's probably why it's split. They're all in a line here, and that just. Anyways. Here's our nice hinges. One screw missing here. It was moved. I don't know where it started or when it started. It seems like every mover always scratches where these hinges go. Luckily they didn't do it on the top. We've seen scratches on the top of these. Big gash. Number 3. At least we know where they go now. But that's silly. Everything else is in really good shape. All the screws are nice. Just one missing. I'm sure we can find one of these. We have lots of piano screws hanging around. This is damaged. It moves. I think next we're going to go after the strings soon. All the dampers are out. Nice. Pretty clean key bed. Oh, we got our tag here. Those are always neat. Nice brass hinges for the cheek blocks, or the ball board. Here's the nice lid pull. Solid rosewood. Nothing wrong with it. Hinge. All the screws are there. Even the felt. It's still soft. Red felt.
Okay, one of the important aspects of conservative restoration is that you make every effort to carefully extract so that you can reuse, any components that can actually be restored. And, even something as simple as the string braiding. I'm sure it could be replaced, but the original's in good shape. So if I take my time and be as careful as I can, I'm sure I can get this out such that I can clean it and put it back in. And that's the goal with every piece of cloth. It can't always be accomplished, but where it can, we take the time to make it done, because this also is a 150-year-old piece of string braid. So show you what I have when I finally get it all out. Probably should show you how you get it out. See, there's the braid. Just a little thing here. I lift it up, grab the cloth, and you feed it through. And the trick is to make sure that it doesn't get snagged on any of these things. These will draw blood, and it will certainly mess up a piece of cloth. So this is done this way, and so on and so forth. Okay, I got them out. These are the string braids to silence the hitching lengths of the strings so that they don't contribute to the tone, and have them laid out in their relative position. And as you see, one of them runs the entire length of the plain wire section. So it became an increasing challenge with every note, but there were only a couple of snaggy points that I had to work it around sharp edges, and getting them both out only took about an hour. So we can debate whether that was an hour well spent, but it was a project successfully accomplished. So I will put those away and later clean them. Need a better tool.
Tricky spot.
The worst, just under the strut. So you don't have like a quarter of an inch of room to maneuver your half-inch fingers. So, and then there. There we go. This keeps the original 3 wires for the note together, so that I can double check any measurements or check them out closely. Where's my nippers? Try to keep something like this tucked up in there to see if I have the room. As you can see, the tolerances inside this are just incredibly tight. I barely have any room to get at these wires, so the idea is to keep the samples, of course. And there's tapered sample. And then, since this Chickering is fitted with tapered tuning pins, I'm in a unique position to, if I can get this little thing in here, right? Just pull the tapered pin out of the hole like a plug, which is a good bit faster than modern systems. There. And the idea is to try and be gentle to the holes inside that, because rust is abrasive and I just don't want to damage anything more than necessary. And that's one note. Okay, I spent yesterday very carefully extracting all the wires and tuning pins from the piano, taking cares not to gouge the board or anything as best I could. I don't think I left any rents behind me, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. And all that's left now inside the case are the felts, which we call the plate dressing. And they are there to cushion the strings, give them something soft to set on and slide across between the A graphs here and the tuning pins here. Nice cushion there. And out here the wires would come down, rest on this, and the loop, is cushioned from the plate by this little felt. Not all pianos do this. It's a style thing. But it's quite amazing that these are all here. They're all in pretty good shape. These felts here might be damaged beyond, but we'll clean them and see what we get. Anyway, take a close look at the system they use. It just consists of, a strip of what looks to be 2 or maybe 3 millimeter non-woven red felt, little felt punchings. If I can get one off very carefully here. They're extremely delicate. There we go. You see, they're just a little red felt. I will be taking them all off, cleaning them. Let's see what happens. I do enjoy putting 100-year-old felts back if they're completely serviceable. Sometimes because of, these extreme indentations, it might be better to replace this with proper new felt, but we'll make that decision after the cleaning. They have an interesting system in the front between the A graphs and the pin, and that consists of a thick layer of, again, non-woven, what we call fedora felt. But between them there is a little wooden bead. See if I can get the light properly. It just has a layer of stringing cloth over it. It is wrapped in felt, so it controls the angle of the wire coming out of the A-graph to keep good proper lift and seating of the wire here. And then this back here can't possibly support the wire the way the wood does, so it just cradles the length of the wire and keeps it from singing, because these are long enough to make noise, and energy does cross these points. It's hard to visualize, but it does happen. So those are the felts. Just a little detail note. As I said, the strings have this little rest here before they go to the hitch pin. Well, in the bass strings, it's a little bit more of a rest. See, it's a whole slab of what looks like 3mm felt, and the wires most definitely, at least now the soundboard's gone flat, press into it quite strongly. So this is what's supposed to be back here in one of these. So a little bit of a technique note. These felts are kind of adhered to the plate. I mean, 300 pounds of pressure for 150 years will have that effect. So what you have to do is take your lifters, slide them in flat with the plate, work your way up to the pin, and then rotate it a bit. And that allows you to break the connection to the plate and lift it out without tearing it. And you can see some of them aren't in the greatest condition, and like that one's going to be completely bitten through, so some of these may have to be replaced. I don't want to replace them all, but we'll cross that bridge. In the meantime, I'm going to take them out as carefully as I can, and that's how I do it.
Taking a quick look at the bottom side of this 33B, Chickering 1867, and as we were remarking on how well built this thing is, this is the oldest one we do, and we're just observing the rib pattern and how heavy the ribs are, or light, whatever, how they're scalloped. We're looking at all of this. It's always very interesting to see how they made these pianos. It's not damaged very badly at all. Luckily they didn't put any shims in it. It just makes more work for us. These cracks here, they seem to have opened up on a seam, on a glue joint. sometimes we can just push these back together. So there are 13 ribs, and these are the first pianos. Other manufacturers also began to turn the grain this way, just the way you see it here, in line with the parallel with the bridge. Just before this, 1863, 1862, Chickerings and even the Steinways, the grain in the soundboard ran this way, from side to side, rather than this way. And these ribs here, they're very bizarre. They seem to run the full length of the piano on the Chickerings. They were turned, these ribs here were turned this way. So this is really very different than the 1860 or 63 piano. A lot of changes were happening fast at that time. So we're going to take this thing out of here and make an adjustment for shrinkage, which is what causes this. Shrunk. And that's it. Good look at what it looks like now. We'll see what it looks like after.
Looking at these beams here, they all have movement. Maybe not all of them, but over here they do. This one's space there.
Yeah, it went down. These are loose. We have to re-glue these. These here too. I bet you that. See them move. Well, they have to be tightened up. They have to be worked on. Once the soundboard is out, we can get at these. And, well, believe it or not, you can give it a good cyanoacrylic treatment, and it will wick right in there. And that cyanoacrylic superglue is amazing woodworking material. It'll make this as solid as well, you'll never get it apart. It's good. It does a good job. They all have to be checked. It does wiggle though. They should come out. Sometimes you tap them from side to side first and be gentle. You can just, they loosen up and they'll come out. Like this one. See how loose it is? You can wiggle it back and forth. This one fell out somewhere. I'll have to put it back. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, it's stamped in. I always thought it was part of the decal. There's a little bit of water here just to clean this gook off. And we can see number 31605. Boy, it's a good thing that's there. Anyways, what are we going to do to this? Well, we're going to recrown this soundboard. We're going to take it out of the piano, make an adjustment for shrinkage, and then put it back in. And we're going to do some bridge repairs and etc. It'll look really good. But what I'm talking about here today is how to get at it. And we have some challenges here. One of them is this molding. this molding is usually nailed in, but this one looks like it's actually glued to the case here. All along. And it's so beautifully fit. The workmanship of getting this in here. So we're gonna, of course, we're gonna try and save it. And to unglue this is gonna be a challenge. Also, over here, look. This cast iron piece goes underneath this molding, and this is a serious molding. I think they have an oak core. So what we're going to attempt is to remove this veneer and save it. And save as much as the core as possible. And we're going to start that soon. We also noticed on that side this is moved away from here. This is actually pulling off of this pin block like that. And there's a space here now, and you can see where it crushed in the wood here. There's so much pressure here. This is moving. So it opened up when we took the strings off and the pressure out. This actually went back that way a little bit, and this gap opened up here. And another thing we noticed is the plate goes underneath the pin block here. Did you run a feeler gauge in here? Did you see how deep that goes?
About an inch and a half.
Yeah,
Up to here.
So you cannot raise the plate straight up, which is necessary. It has to go straight up. So this is going to have to, it sounds hollow. There's a separation here, and it does move. But it usually doesn't just fall off. See, it isn't separated down here. We may have some serious trouble with this. This whole pin block might come out. We'll see. Once we unglue this massive molding here, so we can get at the plate and move the plate out, we'll determine what to do. Somebody ruined this pin block with these copper things here. They ruined a lot of pianos with those. Anyways, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start in a little while. See, that molding goes all the way over here, just for the last, like all the way in here. Beautiful the way it is. Makes the detail here. Decoration. Boy, that's going to be a tough one though, because we don't want to lose the rosewood.